Hi, good morning, everyone. Tom Mancuso from NEXA Mortgage. Thank you for joining us for today's sales rally with AIME and Brokers Are Better. A couple topics I want to go over today. The first is execution. The most important thing in our business is execution. We can have a plan, we can have a backup plan, but we always want to make sure that we execute. When customers deal with us, they want to make sure that we're going to execute on the things that we tell them. It's important, and I've given the analogy before. Actually, a coworker of mine, a colleague of mine, Wade Betts, gave the analogy of being like a pilot on a plane. And in the middle of the plane, in the middle of the flight, running into turbulence and getting on the intercom and telling the passengers, we've encountered some turbulence. We're going to climb, 5,000 feet. We're going to try and go above the turbulence. Go ahead and hang tight, buckle up. It's going to be maybe 10 minutes of turbulence. I want to take that one step further. When I'm communicating with my clients, I want to advise them if there's some possible turbulence coming up ahead of time, and not just the customers, not just my passengers, but keep in mind, our crew, our title companies, our agents are all flying blind with us as well. They can't see out the front windows. They're not in the captain's chair. So it's important to advise them in communication of any possible turbulence. Even if the turbulence is projected ahead of time and we're not sure if we're going to run into some turbulence. So for example, if you order an appraisal and the appraisal says 3 weeks and your close of escrow is 25 days, maybe 4 days after the due date of the appraisal, let everyone know. Don't hope and pray that everything's going to go great. Let them know ahead of time. There may be some turbulence. Understand, if everything goes as planned, we're going to close on time, no problem. However, if there's any delays, if there's any alterations or updates that need to be made on that appraisal report, and an underwriter sends it back to the appraiser for those updates or for those clarifications, it may cause some turbulence. We may close a little bit late. I want to give a couple stories. The first story is a broker went on Brokers Are Better a couple months back, and she was actually buying a house in Arizona, but she's only licensed in California. And so she wanted a broker here in Arizona to do her and her husband's purchase of their second home in Lake Havasu City. Some of the best brokers in Arizona were tagged: Todd Bitter, Lisa Lund, Aaron Reed. Some amazing brokers were tagged. And I was also tagged. And she gave me the opportunity to do the loan. Not because I did it for free. I did it, at a reasonable price for another broker. But most importantly, I understood going through, I wanted to crush the execution on this deal. So I made sure to communicate with everyone across the process along the way, letting them know what was going on. Of course, I ordered an appraisal. It's a small rural area in Arizona. Appraisals take longer there. Of course, we have a 30-day close of escrow, and I was told 7 weeks on an appraisal. Okay, no problem. I got with my AE with UWM, asked for an exception to use a different appraisal company. I got that exception, ordered that appraisal, 5 weeks on that appraisal. Updated everybody throughout the process. I'm still going to try and get it done faster. I'm going to try and order a rush. I'm going to do what I can to make it happen on time and to close on time. Unfortunately, that did not happen. And now I have 2 agents, a title company, another broker, and the sellers involved. And I feel like I'm letting everyone down. However, I'm communicating as best as possible. I'm executing on everything I can control throughout this process. But the broker knows, the agents know. I can't control the appraisal company. I can't control underwriting. However, I can control my communication on everything. And I can control on my execution on things that are in my control. So I made sure and updated everybody throughout the process. Unfortunately, we did close a week late. When I called the agent the day after we closed and apologized and told her it was kind of a bummer to start off this relationship that way, she told me, "Tom, I want you to stop for a second. I just talked to the other agent, and we were going over the one thing that we don't have any doubt throughout this process was you did everything possible in your power to make sure we closed on time. You can't control appraisal companies. I understand that they're a third-party entity, and there's not much that we can do about some of those times, but we never doubted your execution on this file. We never doubted that you did everything possible in your power to make sure this went as smooth as possible. And you kept us updated, not just weekly, but sometimes daily on anything that was going on in this transaction. So we have no doubt that you did what you could. And we are extremely pleased with dealing with you. On top of that, Sure, the broker got a good deal. We closed a week late. Definitely a total bummer. However, now that broker has turned into one of my best advocates. Anytime somebody tags or asks for an Arizona broker, even in groups I'm not parts of, vacation realtor groups, all these different groups, she tags me. She doesn't have to do that. I closed a week late on her loan, but I honestly believe she believes that I did everything possible for her and her family to get that closed on time and as efficient as possible. What's more important with execution is understanding start small. Okay, start in your daily activities. Start with things that you can control. What time do you wake up? Do you control what time you wake up? Do you try and make sure that you wake up at a certain time every day? As far as things that you do in your personal activity, those little wins that you do, give yourself credit for those. If you wake up on time, I know it sounds stupid and it sounds small, but those things build up. Give yourself credit for waking up early every day. Give yourself credit for going to the gym. Give yourself credit for eating better. Don't be upset if you miss the mark sometimes. It's okay. You'll live to fight another day. Make sure and give yourself credit for the small wins. Those wins will build up and you will gain momentum. We can't always control everything in our life, but we can control our reaction to everything. That's most important, is how we deal with things. The other thing I want to go over is leaning on our community. And you hear a lot of us brokers say that all the time. But I want to give another example. I have a new loan officer who's in Northern California, and she's just got into the business. She's been in the business for a couple months. She's constantly running into jumbo deals. It's obviously Northern California. Pretty much every house is a jumbo. But she's now running into depository banks. You know, customers are getting quotes from places like Wells Fargo, Chase, and all these different entities. And she's going up against some very, very difficult offers. And so what we're going over when I'm talking with her is, let's look at the community. There's other brokers in Northern California. What are they running into? How are they dealing with that? She says, oh, well, there's a couple really good brokers. One in particular, she always puts how she beat this bank, or she won this, or she won the deal competing with this person. I said, okay, well, let's lean on the community. Let's ask them how they're competing with depository lenders. Okay, well, I'll post it in Brokers Are Better, but I don't think anybody's going to comment. Okay, well, tag me and I'll ask people to comment. I know some brokers in California that do some amazing work on jumbos. Some really close friends of mine, QB and Christian Hernandez, QB did a video for AIME on how to compete on jumbos when it comes to appraisal gaps and going above appraised value to win deals. So I sent her the AIME YouTube video on that. But then I also thought, why don't I just go to the horse's mouth? Why don't I reach out to that broker that she looks up to so much and just ask this broker if she would take a little bit of time out of her day just to give us some tips on how to deal with this. I know this broker is phenomenal at what she does. I've never talked to her though, but I know that the new loan officer was totally intimidated to reach out to this broker. So I sent the broker a message yesterday. Said, hey, Danielle, would you mind talking with a new loan officer with me? She just competes on a lot of jumbos and she always sees how good you do and she really looks up to you. And that broker's response was, absolutely. We all win together. I would love to do that. How about the three of us do a Zoom call? I thought, man, wow, what an amazing community that we have. And so I told that loan officer, that new loan officer who's just crushed, that she feels like she just has no ability to win any of these deals. I said, hey, we're going to do a Zoom call. What's Wednesday like for you? So now we've got a Zoom call planned for tomorrow afternoon with this broker who's taking just a little bit of time out of her day to share some tips, because the better any of us do, the better we all do. And this broker knows this other loan officer is not her competition. Her competition is Wells Fargo, Chase, and the big depository lenders that win over business. And I know, and a lot of us know, what Wells Fargo has done to their consumers in the past. We know some of the fraudulent activities that have gone on, the checking accounts getting open for kids and dogs, and you know, things like that. So it's very important that we understand, as a community, we can take on anyone. We can take on these big depository institutions and we can serve our community better. It's most important that we go through and we follow through with what we say we're going to do. You don't have to know every guideline in the book, but if you tell a customer, you know what, I don't know the answer to that, let me find out and get back to you, and you never follow up with that customer or an agent, That's the problem. That's execution. It doesn't matter how much you know. If you are not following through and these people can't depend on you, that's a problem. I want everyone to understand that these customers are family. They are like family. They are someone's family. They're someone's grandmother, grandfather, father, mother, wife, son, daughter, cousin, niece, nephew. They are someone's family. We should treat them like they're our family. And if you do, they will become like your family. They will become like that broker who I've never met in person and who says a bunch of nice things about me on Facebook and tags me in all these other offers. Those things will build up if we execute, if we follow through with what we say. Without executions, great ideas are just thoughts. I want everyone to understand that. The execution is what matters. If you don't know something, tell someone you don't know, but follow through with what you say. The most amazing compliment I can get is when I set an appointment with a client and I call them at the exact time that I'm supposed to. The first thing they say to me is, "Oh, wow, you're very diligent. Wow, I appreciate you calling me on time." Well, of course. I mean, we set an appointment. That's the other thing. Set appointments. Brendan McKay talks about using Calendly. He uses Calendly for everything. Schedule an appointment. He has his day scheduled out. Most of the most amazing brokers I know have their day scheduled out. Set alarms, set reminders, use Post-it notes, whatever you have to do. Set whatever reminder that's necessary. Tell your wife, your husband, your team, whatever you have to do. Tell your dog, put a sign around your dog's neck. Call Mr. Smith at 9 a.m. on Tuesday. Whatever you have to do, execute. That is within your control. But if you don't execute, people are let down. Put yourself in the customer's shoes. You're applying for the biggest transaction of your life. You're applying to buy a home or refinance your home that the roof over your family's head is now at stake. If you are not communicating with that family, what are they doing? They're feeling nervous. Recently, I went through a financial transaction, a very big financial transaction. My family is involved in this. And even though I do this for a living, I was nervous. I got nervous. Again, I'm the passenger that can't see out the front window. I can't see where we're going. I can see the side, but I don't know where we're going. So without a pilot that communicates with me, without a pilot that communicates with our staff, with the team, I don't know what's going on. Put yourself in their shoes. I want to tell you a story. My last story is something that's personal to me. When I was 13 years old, my grandfather was a veteran. He lost his hearing in World War II. There was a banker and his assistant or something that came to our house. We had some serious financial problems in our family, and we had some emergencies. My grandfather had to take out a mortgage on his home. This home had been in his family. It was his parents' home in Chicago, in an old part of Chicago, in Cicero. Home was built in 1914, I believe. Had to take out a mortgage. My dad was a finance manager for a group of car dealerships in Arizona, so I knew a little bit about finance because I hung out at my dad's car dealership on the summertime. But I was there when that banker came to my grandfather's house. And I was there when that banker talked down to my grandfather. And I watched my grandfather try to communicate with this person. My grandfather couldn't hear. He lost his hearing at 21 years old in World War II. Literally was married for 60 years to his wife. And for 59 of those years, couldn't hear her voice because he wanted to serve our country. This banker sat there and talked down to him and treated him like he was stupid. In fact, at times, even making jokes, it seemed, to his partner. He really didn't fathom that my grandfather could read lips, but couldn't necessarily hear. And so after that person left, my grandfather did business with them. And I asked my grandfather, why would you do that? That guy's a jerk. That guy seems like a jerk. Why would you let him help us? He said, Tommy, you don't understand. Not a lot of people will help us. There's not a lot of people that will help, people like me. People like me. What does that mean? What does that mean? Someone who's a veteran who decided to serve their country and now lives with a disability, they get treated less because they're not the most intelligent financial mortgage customer in the world? That's horrible. Everyone we deal with is someone's family. Don't forget that. Treat them like they deserve to be treated. I've never forgot that. When you hear me get upset at lenders or people using lenders because they're just chasing rate or trying to make the most amount of compensation, they're forgetting about the personal aspect of this business. Never forget that. Never forget the person on the other end of that phone or sitting on the other end of that desk is someone's family. Treat them that way, and they will become your family. Thank you guys for joining me on today's sales rally. Tune in next week. I'm sure we're going to have an amazing broker. And don't forget, views at the end of September. I'll see you guys in Vegas. Thank you guys. Have a great day. Bye-bye.